If this is your first time in the forest, you should go back and learn the base game before proceeding. Fire Tower Rising Flames is a multi-layered expansion with several new pieces of content. We suggest that you do not add everything in the expansion on your first play. First, add the core elements, then add the extreme weather elements. Before we get started, here is a term you'll need to know. Orthogonally adjacent simply means touching along a side and never diagonally. These 4 gems are orthogonally adjacent to the gem in the center. To set up the core expansion, start by removing all the event cards, solo cards, and specialty cards from the deck. Then shuffle the base deck together with the remaining expansion cards. Now deal 6 cards to each player. Cut in the Firestorm. Give each player 1 Firehawk and place the rest in the supply by the board. Before the game starts, each player must place their Firehawk on a vacant space in their quadrant. Your quadrant is outlined by the compass points. It is the quarter of the board that contains your tower, shown here. You may never place Firehawks in your Fire Tower area or on the Eternal Flame. Firehawks carry burning branches to set fires to flush out prey. Now you can harness the power of these magnificent birds. Use Firehawk cards to place 2 or 3 Firehawks at a time in your quadrant. They can be placed on any vacant space, including spaces next to fire breaks or other Firehawks. There is no limit to the number of Firehawks you may have in your quadrant, but if there are no Firehawks left in the supply, you may remove them from your opponent's quadrant to place in yours. If a fire gem enters the same space as one of your Firehawks, immediately fly that gem to another space on the board. Place the gem on any vacant space orthogonally adjacent to a pre-existing fire gem. Again, that just means touching along one of the 4 sides, but never diagonally. Then return the Firehawk to the supply. Firehawks can be triggered by an opponent, an event card like the Firestorm, and even your own actions. Unlike fire breaks, Firehawks do not block fire from passing through the spaces they occupy. If you played a burning snag here, the Firehawk would remove that 1 gem, but the rest would still be placed. In some cases, several Firehawks can be triggered at once. If more than one player's hawks are triggered at the same time, resolve them in turn order. Firehawks love to flock. Whenever someone plays a Firehawk card, all players may rearrange the hawks in their quadrant. If your tower has been burned, you still control your Firehawks and they function normally. The Rising Flames expansion includes several new action cards with unique abilities. The Rolling Firebrand is a rolling, flaming log. Use it to move fire towards your opponents and away from yourself. Select 2 orthogonally adjacent fire gems on the board and move them as a pair exactly 2 spaces, horizontally or vertically. The gems must not be obstructed by fire breaks or other fire gems, but can move into spaces occupied by Firehawks and trigger them. A Crown Fire is a fast-moving fire that spreads from treetop to treetop. Place a pattern of up to 2 fire gems in a line, orthogonally adjacent to another fire gem. Unlike other cards, you can play 2 Crown Fire cards simultaneously to add 2 patterns of 2. These patterns must build off each other, but can connect in different ways, like this, or this. At the end of your turn, draw back up to your hand size. Creeping Fire spreads slowly with a low flame. Add 3 gems to the board. Each gem must be orthogonally adjacent to a pre-existing fire gem. However, the 3 gems added by Creeping Fires cannot be orthogonally adjacent to each other. With hell attacks, use helicopters to quickly transport crews and supplies. Remove a pattern of 2 orthogonally adjacent fire gems and then 1 single gem. The pattern of 2 and the single gem can be separate or adjacent. Backburns are intentionally set fires that consume fuel and create barriers to flames. Replace a fire gem on the board with a Firebreak token. This token must follow all Firebreak placement rules. New intercardinal wind cards add northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest cards. Unlike other wind cards, these allow you to choose from 2 directions when changing the wind. They also allow you to place 1 fire gem diagonally adjacent to a pre-existing gem in the direction shown at the top. The Shadow of the Wood is the vengeful spirit of a burned tower. Rising Flames expands the role of the shadows, giving them more opportunities to win the game. If your tower is the first to be burned, shuffle the Shadow of the Wood card into the deck. This card plays the same as in the base game. Then place the Shadow Power card in front of you as a guide. On your first turn after your tower is destroyed, you will not take any action, as your shadow has not yet fully formed, and play will pass to your left. Starting on your second turn, you will roll the shadow die each turn and take the corresponding action. As a shadow, your goal is to cause mayhem in the forest and try to claim victory. You will work as a team with any other shadows. To win, you must burn all towers in the forest before the start of the next unburned tower's turn. If at the start of an unburned tower's turn, they are the last tower remaining, they win immediately. For example, say you were playing a 4-player game, and these 2 towers are shadows. They would have to burn both the red and purple towers before the start of the red tower's turn in order to win the game. Say the shadows occupy the red and blue towers. If the red shadow manages to burn the purple tower on their turn, the blue shadow now must burn the green tower on their next turn for the shadows to win the game. Otherwise, the green tower wins automatically. Now for the die rolls. If you roll a 1, you may either remove a Firebreak token of your choice from the board or activate a Firehawk. Choose one Firehawk on the board to remove. That hawk will move a gem from the quadrant it inhabits to another quadrant. You can choose which gem to move and where to place it. The gem must be placed orthogonally adjacent to a pre-existing fire gem. If you roll a 2, spread the flames. Place one gem orthogonally adjacent to a pre-existing gem, then roll again for a new action. If you roll a 3, gain the powers of the deck. Draw 3 cards from the deck and play up to 2 of them. Discard any remaining cards. If you roll a 4, harness the power of the wind. Place one fire gem in the direction of the wind, then choose a new wind direction that is different from the current wind. If you roll a 5, test your luck. Place a fire gem on top of the shadow card. You may now roll as many times as you want. For each roll under 5, you gain 1 more gem. You may stop at any time and place all the gems on the shadow power card onto the board. These gems need to be orthogonally adjacent to other gems, and if you want, can build off each other. However, if you ever roll a 5 or a 6, you must remove all the gems and end your turn. How far do you dare to go? If you roll a 6, add to the blaze. You may take the action of a Creeping Fires card to place 3 gems. If you manage to eliminate a tower on your turn, take another turn as the shadow and roll the die again.